Hello YouTube, it is Pro Digi here coming at you with a little bit of some jank from the Jankyard. Now, this is a deck that actually I had to admit, at one point in time, I was a big fan of Alphamon, and then when the whole limit one per deck happened to our lovely Dexterugramon, or Dexterugramon. I can't talk. Our boy that got limited down to one that gave us all that lovely protection as well as security type +1. That really felt sad. But I also knew and understood the reason why. I was tinkering around with some cards and decks, and I built this after seeing some other deck profiles. And it has actually been a fun deck to mess around with, and it just completely blindsides people. Because it can come out of nowhere. I mean, granted, they can still win because this is a very slow deck in its own right. But given the right cards and some patience, we can strike our opponent down very hard. And that is going to be a Kazuchimon featuring Pulsemon. So let's get into it. Our Digi-Egg of choice originally is Digimon, who comes from BT6. Now you could actually swap this out and run Kiaramon, because the whole whenever a card is removed from your security, you gain jamming. But I feel like this one's still the better way to go, just because of what this deck is trying to do combo-wise. And that could change in the future, but for right now, that's my Digi-Egg. Now, first up, we are running 4 copies of the promo card P028 Pulsemon, who I believe has also been a reprint in the Resurgence Booster, also known as the reprint set. He has, on play, if you have 3 or more security cards, draw a card. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, gain 1 memory. So ideally, you want to play this card when you have exactly 3, because then you'll get both effects. Then I'm running 4 copies of Pulsemon from BT6. Now what he brings to the table is going to be, on play, you may trash cards from the top of your security stack until there are 3 left. In case you can't tell, 3 is the magic number for this deck. Gain 1 memory for each security card trashed. So you could basically make this guy become a 1 cost if you want. I have done it sometimes just to get myself set up quicker. There's been other times where I just completely ignore it. He also has the inheritable. While you have 3 security cards, note how it says exactly 3. This Digimon gains jamming. Again, you could try and switch some things around and try to run the Kiaramon egg for your jamming, but this version automatically can give you jamming. Next, I am running 4 copies of Pulsemon from BT7. No real effect built into him, but he does have the inheritable of, when attacking once per turn, if you have 3 security cards, exactly 3, gain 2 memory. Alright, now we have one more rookie. We are running a single copy of BT10 Pulsemon he brings to the table the opponent's turn effect of while you have 3 or fewer security cards, this Digimon gains blocker. Now on to our champions. I recently changed this. I can't remember exactly who this was prior to this. I want to say I think this was actually, I believe, Mimicmon, who costs 4 and 2 to Digivolve into, and has the effect that says if you have 3 or less security, gain back 2 memory when you on-play him, as just a cheaper / quicker way to get a champion out there. But I recently changed it to this guy just to start having just a little bit more aggro and to be more on theme. He has the built-in effect of while you have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So just more pure aggro for your early game. Ideally, you probably don't want to be swinging all willy-nilly early. You want to go into your big stack and really hit off. But sometimes you do need that early game aggro, especially while you're waiting for your other pieces. And that's where he comes into play. Now, my other champion I'm running in this deck is I'm running 2 copies of Centarumon. Now this was, I believe it is BT4 Pedomon, who is just a 1 to Evo into champion that had blocker. But again, I'm trying to go a little more aggro in this build. So we changed it to this, and what he brings to the table is when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. And then he has the inheritable of when attacking once per turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. Next, we're going to go into another champion that we are running a grand total of 4 of. And that is Dinohumon. He has no built-in effect, but he does have an inheritable. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP for the turn. Notice how that is not once per turn. Alright, now we're going to go into our level 5s. Now our main level 5 that we want to try and go into is Boutmon. Now what he brings to the table is your turn. When this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Shaman or Wizard in its traits, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your security stack. For each security card trashed by this effect, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. He also has the inheritable. When attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 security cards, unsuspend this Digimon. Please note that's referring to having exactly 3. Now, another ultimate we're running for this deck is going to be Chimeramon. Now, what he brings to the table is when Digivolving, you may place a level 5 or lower Digimon from your trash under this guy as a source. As I already mentioned, our ideal one to go into is Boutmon. But if for some reason that can't happen, like say we haven't drawn into it, but we did see one get hit in security and go to trash, guess what? All we gotta do is get 2 4s out, DNA, absorb him, and now we have that lovely inheritable that we've been wanting. And of course he does have the ability of when you DNA, he can minus 1000 DP for each of his colors, which means at max he will minus 3000 DP on something. And then our last actual backup method of getting into our Mega in terms of our level 5 ultimate slots, I'm running 3 copies of Sylphimon from BT8. Now, what he does is he can also DNA from a level 4 red and a level 4 yellow. And you've already seen our level 4 lineup, so we do have the red ones that we need in here. What he does is when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for the turn. Then if DNA Digivolving, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. He also has the inheritable. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. So all that is made so that we can make the big build and the big climb to our only level 6 Mega in this deck, Kazuchimon. Now, what makes this guy a badass is all in his card. He does cost 5 to Evo into, but as you've already seen, we do have a way to reduce that cost by sacrificing our security. And the reason why we're not worried about sacrificing security to get to this guy is because of his when Digivolving effect. When Digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards, gain 2 memory. If you have 2 or fewer security cards, you may recover 1 until there are 3 security cards. So he's basically already setting himself up for that magic number that Pulsemon / Kazuchi here wants to see, and that's 3. So if you're at 0, he will be your big emergency button and put you back at 3. He also has the your turn effect of while you have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So you can already kind of see where this is going. Potentially, we're going to have the ability to have jamming. We're going to have the ability to minus DP a couple things. We're going to have security attack +1. We're going to be able to unsuspend the tech again. I mean, if done right through DNAing, we could even have an even bigger stack with a lot more inheritables and do just more of the same thing. Now, moving on to the tamers of the deck. I'm running, at the moment, 2 copies of Tai and Kari. Start of your turn. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, gain 1. If your opponent has 3 or fewer security cards, gain 1. Your turn, when one of your red or yellow Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to have all of your opponent's security Digimon get minus 2,000 DP. If we manage to get somehow both of these out, when we swing, we don't have to worry about our opponent's security Digimon as much, because between the possible jamming we already have, we do have the ability to just minus DP their security Digimon, making it a lot more safer to swing. Next, I am running 2 copies of TK, our memory fixer. Start your turn. If you have 2 or less memory, set to 3. On play, look at your security stack, reveal and add 1 card from there to your hand. If it was a yellow card, you get to recover 1 and then shuffle your security. Because you never know, that missing piece you need, especially Kazuchimon or your level 5 Boutmon, could be hiding in security. Now on to the options. I am running 2 copies of, I don't know how to pronounce this, so if I'm going to try and say it just once, if I butcher it, then I am sorry. Loken Edesco. But anyway, I will have to learn how to pronounce that. This card says, while you have a Pulsemon or a Digimon with Pulsemon in its Digivolution cards in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. No need to worry about that part. Main, if you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 12k DP for the turn. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, place one of your opponent's Digimon face down on top of their security stack. So this card can do multiple things or 2 things. So yeah, just very nice, especially if it is revealed from security and it just so happened to be the last card that they needed to hit. Like say you're at 4 security, they hit this, you're at 3, it's going to activate, and it's going to check. It sees there's only 3 left. So now you get to do both, minus 12 something and put something on top of their security stack. Same thing if you play it from a hand at the right moment. You're going to get the both effects. So just truly wonderful. Now the next option cards is a fairly new one. Haven't had a chance to really play with this deck since adding the new stuff just yet, but I'm running 2 copies of physical training. Now, there's a training card for each color, and they all pretty much do the same exact thing, just in their respective colors. Basically, you get to reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. You add 1 yellow card among them to your hand and put the other one at the bottom of the deck. Then place this card in the battle area to be used later for its delay effect. And its delay effect is that when you are digivolving one of your Digimon into a yellow Digimon, you can pop this card and reduce the cost by 2. Then I'm running 2 copies of Impulse Memory Boost. Now this card is like any other Memory Boost card. It doesn't affect, and then it stays on the battle area to be popped later to gain ever so much memory. So basically what this card does is that you play it. It allows you to play a Pulsemon from your hand without paying the cost, then place it in the battle area. Then you can pop it on a later turn for 2 memory. Then I'm playing a single copy of Reinforcing Memory Boost because it's all we're allowed to play. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Add 1 to your hand and 1 on top of your security. And then this goes to the battle area to be popped later to gain 3 memory. I'm also running 2 copies of Electric Rush. Now this, in conjunction with our Boutmon and Kazuchimon, is what makes this deck so lethal and able to come out of nowhere. You have Electric Rush. One of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. Then, if you have 3 security cards, exactly, unsuspend one of your Digimon. Security effect is to add this card to your hand. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the game, my preferred egg is Digimon. And you've already seen that we have a version of Pulsemon in here with a similar effect. Both of them are along the lines of when attacking, gain either 1 or 2 memory. We are doing those because if we can set it up, we'll swing, gain memory, swing again, gain the memory. Or if we're playing the one that gains us 2 memory, just swing once, unsuspend, swing again, and then play this because you have enough memory to do it now. So that gives you your 3 swings. Each one is doing 2 security checks. And last but not least, because we do have a splash of a yellow-red tamer in here, we can run this red card, particularly for those pesky security control decks. We got a Delicate Plan. One of your Digimon gains. This Digimon doesn't activate security effects of any cards until the end of turn. Or for the turn, I should say. Security effect is to add this card to your hand. So we have massive amounts of damage output. We have the ability to control the board. We have the ability to get multiple swings in. This deck has just a little bit of everything. So if the stars align, and our opponent is even just the slightest bit sluggish trying to set up for their big combo, our boy Pulsemon / Kazuchimon here can come out of nowhere and win the game. This has been Pro Digi, and I will see you next time.